Hello and welcome. This is Chrisanne coming at you from Elemental Energies with Chrisanne. And today you're joining me for a craft along with me. We are going to be using some of my absolute favorite stamps. We're going to be using some Lavinia stamps. I have some Lavinia stencils here, but this is the company, Lavinia. And oh my gosh, these are the most beautiful stamps. They're fairies, and they're animals, and they're trees and flowers, and everything sort of mystical and naturey. So we are going to be making a really simplistic card. I know many times when people see a lot of sort of scenery stamps, they get completely overwhelmed. And it's like, oh my gosh, I have to, number one, have a lot of supplies. Number two, how do I build all that up? We are going to be breaking it down in only making a 2.5-inch circle piece. That's it. We're only going to be focusing on a 2.5-inch piece. That's going to break it down. That's going to make it easier. Yes, I'm going to be using quite a few supplies. You don't have to use the supplies that I'm using, the amount of supplies that I'm using to get the same effect, to make some really simplistic cards. Now, you don't have to use these as cards. You can also use them in your junk journals and your art journals for journaling space. So this is a multi-purpose project, but we're going to be breaking it down into something really simple. So what I have is I have some stencils, I have a collection of rubber stamps, some focal pieces, then I have some script stamps. You know, if you've watched me before, you know I love my visual textures. I love my layers and my textures. I have some ink. I have a brand new ink pad. You know, happiness is a brand new ink pad. Ugh, I love it. I have some paper, some base, and then some to layer on top. And then I have a whole collection of the Lavinia Stamps ink pads in all different colors. And we're going to go through that when we get to it. You know, the other things that I have are my sponges. They are very well loved for adding some ink. And then I have my brushes. Yes, I know. I have my strips in here too. We're ignoring that. And I just got some new brushes. So, you know, I added those to my bucket. So we're going to be using all of that. Some of these things like ink, blending brushes, blending sponges, you may already have in your stash. You may already have some stencils. You may already have some stamps. And then, you know, I have some stamp blocks. I have a whole collection of stamp blocks here. So let's get started. The very first thing I want to do is I want to make some circles. Now, by breaking it down, this is the 2.5-inch circle. By breaking it down into something only 2.5 inches, that's our work surface. 2.5 inches. That's it. That hopefully will take, I don't know, some of the stress, maybe some of the fear out of this to make it a little bit more easy and accessible, because all we have to do is worry about 2.5 inches. We're not worried about an entire card front or an entire journal page. So by breaking it down to only 2.5 inches, yay, it's a little bit to work with. That's it. So let's put these over here. Let's open our brand new ink pad. So I like VersaFine Claire. The Nocturne is my very favorite black ink pad, period. It is a dye-based ink pad. says pigment ink, but it's a really good ink. It does take a little bit longer to dry. It is a pigment-based, no, it is a dye-based pigment ink, meaning the pigment ink takes a little longer to dry. I do not heat set this. Let's see. We are going to do this stamp. Now, I have had my stamps for years and years and years and years and years. They are cling-based stamps, but you know, the polymer that they're made with is a lot thicker than our silicone. I can't even remember the material right now. This is different than other stamps. And it is, I don't know, much more durable. It stands the test of time very, very differently than some others do. So I want to create my visual textures in the background. So the first thing I want to do is grab one of my stencils. So we're going to be using this one. And then the next thing that I want to do is choose, I think I want a yellow. Yeah, let's do a yellow in the background. And I'm looking for my yellow stencil brush. So I am using the Elements Lavinia Stamps Sahara ink pad, dye based. Now I have had these, oh my gosh, I want to say 5 or 6 years, and they are still quite juicy. I can't say how nice they are enough. So let's ink up my brush. See, I mean, you can see how juicy it is. Let's tap it off over here. You know what? I'm going to tap it off on this. I keep forgetting to tap it off in the lid because then I can come back and re-add it by doing that. So let's find, since I'm only doing something 2.5 inches here, I like that. I like that placement. I'm not pressing hard when I'm using my blender brush, and I'm just holding it with my finger. There, easy peasy. So we are done with this. You know what? I want to wipe that little bit up. I keep this right here handy because I get covered in ink. I don't know about you, but I get covered in ink. Now the next thing I want to do is create another level of visual texture in the background. What I'm going to use is, let's see, let's put it on this one. I am going to use this script background. All of them are from Lavinia. So let me grab, I'm going to use this as scrap paper. And I want that turquoisey, this one, the mermaid. So what I'm going to do is I want the 2nd generation stamp. So I'm going to ink this up, and then I'm going to stamp it off. So there's a dark one right there, but I don't want it so dark. I want it light. That's what I want. See the difference? 1st generation, 2nd generation. I can come back and cut that up and do things with that too. Let's just give that a quick wipe. Let's move that over there. Let's move that over there. And then this is where my VersaFine Clair comes in. I am going to stamp this in the black, they call it Nocturne, VersaFine Clair with my brand new ink pad. I have, see, I'm covered. I have not had a new one of these, oh my gosh, in years. I treated myself to a new ink pad. I don't know. Is that good? Bad? Sad? I don't know. I was excited. Now, the trick with using these is, see, I got really juicy, is you turn it over and you push it down and you hold it there for a few minutes. I want the ink to make contact with the paper. I am using just plain white 110-pound cardstock. And I want the ink to make contact with this paper. I can use my stamp press to get a really good stamp impression, but you know what? I'm a little bit old school. I do like to use my stamping blocks. So I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to hold this for a minute. Now, I do kind of do a little bit of rocking back and forth. There. It gives me that nice, beautiful, crisp impression. Yeah, see? Covered in ink. Covered. Now, I am not done yet with the stuff that I'm adding to this. The next thing I want to add, I want this. Oop, I didn't put the lid on that. Okay, I want, mulberry. That's the one I want. I want my purple. This is a dark purple. I'm just going to give this just another sort of minute or two to kind of dry, but I want to come in and I want to edge this. I want to frame it so that, look at it now, see how it looks, you see the image, but once I frame it, it's going to bring your eye in a little bit more. So like I said, I'm using the Elements mulberry, using my messy sponge. I'm going to pick this up and do it in the air so you can see it. And I'm just going to come in and give it a little bit of an edge. Being really careful not to touch the edges so I don't smudge anything. Because you know I will. You see how just that little bit? Now, if I wanted to come in just a little bit more, it will frame it even more. You know, I'm always saying when I'm inking things, I want my ink to show. I like the ink. I want it to show. I like the colors. I like the variety of the colors that I have. There. Let me move this so I don't get covered in that ink, because yeah, I just did. See? See? It brings your eye in just a little bit more. And the very last thing I'm going to do is, I love my Stella pen. This is a little bit of glitter. Sometimes it's hard to see on the screen, but I am going, let's see, should I do the wings or should I do the moon? You know what? We're going to do both. We're going to do, so this is the clear. Now, can you see that? The other one that I have a blue one. I don't know if this one's primed. Oh, yes, it is primed. Let's do the moon in blue. This is a really, really, really fine glitter that's in the Stellas. You know, it's a little bit that adds a lot. I could have just simply outlined it. It has a brush tip, so it goes easily. You know, when I'm working with fairies, I love there to be glitter and sparkle. I'm going to go around the wings because I've already covered the wings in the clear. This dries fairly quickly. And there. Is there such a thing as too much glitter? I don't know. And I like working with this glitter because it doesn't get all over me. So let me show you. Isn't that pretty? All that nice glitter. And now, oh, let me clean that up because you know I'm going to get everything in it. If I don't clean this up, and especially if I'm working with white paper, it gets all over the paper. I know from experience. So let me put that right there for 2 seconds to dry, and let's start assembling our card. I have some white cardstock, which is just 8.5 by 11 cut in half. And then I have some black cardstock. It is 4, I think it's by 5 1/4. Yeah, 4 by 5 1/4 are my measurements. I'm using Art Glitter glue. And let's get this glued down. Yeah, see, I even had the pin in it and it's still there. And let's put this here. Now, Lavinia Stamps does make some really pretty sayings, but I'm going to use some Tim Holtz stickers for some sayings. And let's put that right there. And let's grab some Tim Holtz stickers and let's see what we're going to do. This one is Small Talk. Ooh, there we go. Yeah, I don't take a lot of time making decisions. We have the one that says Own Your Dreams. Let's move that out of the way. And I do put a little bit of glue on the back of these. And now to get this lined up. There. Quick, simple, easy. Let's do a couple more. Let's put that over there. So let's take one of our, how did I get all these little pieces here? I think that came out of my bucket over there. Okay, so let's see. We've used this one. Let's do this fairy and that. And then, you know, I'm looking for some foliage. I want that foliage. Okay. The good thing with, oh, we don't need that. The good thing with working with something so small is you don't need to be able to fit the full stamp on to this piece. Let's come in and we'll do, you know what, I probably have enough ink on this. I do. Oops, but I wasn't holding it down. Yeah, do as I say, not as I do. There. There, perfect. Okay. And then I want to do a green. And I want this green, just like I did the last one, how I stamped it off. I want to do the exact same thing. So let me get my scrap paper again. And let's ink this up. This is the Elements Olive color. I like these colors because they are a little bit bolder. They're my colors. See, that's the first generation stamp. And I'm going to put this right here. And I do it quick because I don't want a dark impression. And that's the second generation stamp. So you can see there's the difference. I just want it to be a background. I just want it to be what I call visual texture. When I need it in the background, I don't want it to take away from my focal pieces, meaning the fairy. The fairy is really what I'm going for. Let me see if this is big enough. Yes, it is. Okay, I don't need that one. The fairy is more my focus. But in this case, actually, you know what? I want to do, no, I'll do the fairy first. See, I want the fairy kind of looking at the little bunny. And then once again, I'm inking it up with the Nocturne. And see, it's much bigger than my little circle. But that doesn't matter to me. I'm just using part of it. Just like I was using part of the script stamp as well. Just like I was using part of the stencil. You know, when you think sort of in smaller pieces, you change your perspective. There. Nice. And then let's get this little guy here. Now, if there's any of these spots that didn't quite fill in, you can always come in with a black marker. And I'm giving this a nice push. There. How cute is that? Let me show you what I have so far. This wants to keep falling on me. Let me move this over here. And we don't need that. And we don't need that. But we do need that. Actually, we do need this. So this is just a little bit of foliage. And I want to come back in with that olive. And I'm going to have this coming down from the top. When I'm inking out my stamps, I'm not smooshing it into the ink pad. I think people kind of make that mistake. I'm lightly tapping it. And I'm doing first and second generation stamping all at once. Meaning I stamp it once, I'm not re-inking it because I want some of these to look like they're in the background. Now, if I wanted just a tinge more right there. There we go. There. That's what I wanted. The other thing I want is to take this and clean that up. And let's clean that up. Put that over there. Oh, I'm going to need this again. There's one more thing I want to do. Let me come back here with my scrap paper. And I want to tear that. And now I have my torn edge and I want to ground my piece. I am looking for my green. Here we go. Here's my green. So I'm using that same olive. Now, by saying I want to ground my piece, I want to create a ground. And I can even come up, I can move my little pre-made stencil and just lightly, I'm just pulling it down. Sometimes I go in circles. This time I'm pulling it down. Do you see how it grounded my little guys here? And then come in and clean that up. I have learned the hard way. I have made some of these Lavinia pieces that have taken me like an hour to create the piece. And if I don't clean up in between, I get a disaster of a mess. And I'm just adding a little bit of that Wink of Stella to the fairy wings. How cute is that? Now, I can come in and edge it if I wanted to. I'm not going to edge this one. Should I? Should I edge it? All right. You convinced me. Let's do that same purple again. I heard you. It just gave it a little pop of something. So let's get this one glued in. You know what? I need to make sure my hands are clean because I'm going to be working with white cardstock. And fingerprints do tend to get all over my things. And let's do this. I like art glitter glue. I find it has a quick tack to it. I put it down, it stays down. All right, let's glue this one in. You know, I give these a little bit to dry, especially when I've added that Wink of Stella glitter to it. And, you know, with all this layered ink, I'm very gingerly touching it. That glue will grip it and will hold it. And that's what we have so far. You know what? I better put the pin in this because once again, I've learned that the hard way. Let's grab some more of, you know, maybe I'll just leave this one out. Small talk. And I want to go for a white background one. Oh, did I read that? Nope, I didn't. You can never have too much happy. And you see how quick these cards are going. And I can get quite a few of these made. This is the hardest part, getting this lined up and straight. That's harder than the stamping. It's a little offside, but that's all right. You can never have too much happy. See, I'm just working tiny. I like working miniatures. Where did I put my other one? I like working in miniatures because it goes quicker. Oh, here's my other one. So in this short amount of time, we've got these two done. Let's get one more done. And let's see, what should we do this time? Let's do, I have that guy, but you know what? I have these little fairies. And I have these flowers, and I have these mushrooms. Let's just pull all this out. Okay. Let's do that same stencil. Once again, I probably have enough ink on this. Yep, I do. Because I'm just going for a background, I don't need it so dark. And let's see, what color should we do? You know what? Let's come in with this yellow. Yeah, the Sahara. This time, I'm not going to stamp it off because it is a light enough color. I just want to make sure it's going the right way. Yep. See, they're so juicy. Even though I didn't push super hard. There. Let's clean this up. Let's clean this up. Let's just put that over there. And now this, I'm going to do in my darker colors. And let's do this fairy. I think this fairy comes in a set of 4. There's that one. And then that fairy. Oops. Oh, if it doesn't stick, I have my mister, my water mister. That's not... I just spritzed it. I didn't want to spritz it here because it would get all over everything. I just added a little bit of water to the back of that. And then it will stick better. Now I need to dry my hands off. And then let's ink this little guy up. Put that right there. And then I'm going to come in and I'm going to do some of the foliage and things, different flowers and stuff here. There. This is what I have so far. And let's do this one. And I like this one in purple. Here's that mulberry. And don't think that you always have to have your piece going in one direction. So I stamped that a couple of times. Let's do this one that we used before in that olive. Oops. Oh, popped off. Let me give that a clean. This is how I absolutely get covered for days. So let's, and I'm stamping it a couple of times because I want that background impression. That's what I have. And should we add, you know what, let me see. let's do the pine in this one. And I want to see which end I want. I want that end. Just to bring in a little different color. This also acts as a frame to my piece. And then, should we do some of this? No, we're not going to do anything of that. Sometimes I tend to go a little overboard. I'm not a minimalist at all. Yeah, that's never been my strong suit. But you know what? I think I want to edge this one in a blue. I mean, introducing another color. And it lightly shows up. It's not like super bold. I don't need it to be super bold. I just need it to be another little pop of color. And it's a color that sort of plays into what the theme is. And that one was the Blue Lagoon. And see, it's just a little edge. And then, you know what? Let's glue this on the card. Then I'm going to do the Wink of Stella. Because I'm covered. I need to move these before I bring out. And I'll clean these later. Run them under water. You can just rub them off on a piece of paper. And these are coming together super quickly. So I make a lot of cards. Oh, see, that one has ink on it already. Oh, yeah. Oh, I didn't clean this. All right. We're just going to use this one because that's all right. I will come in and I will sponge the background. Yeah. That's what I mean. You got to clean between each and every one. So I was saying I make a lot of cards every year and I donate a lot of them to different organizations, etc. So even though I may not make a ton of cards on my videos, I'm going to start making a lot more cards because I really do donate a lot. Let's do a tinge of Wink of Stella. And my collection gets depleted very quickly. So I regularly need to be making cards. I am just kind of adding some other little lines. I know it's really hard to see that on camera, but oh, can you see that? But it's a really, really beautiful, fine glitter. Okay. We are going to do See Possibility Everywhere. I always add a little bit of glue. It's relatively straight, but it's handmade. So there, in under 40 minutes, we have 3 cards accomplished. Let me grab my cards so we can see all 3 cards here. Let's clear some of this out of the way. So we have this one, We have this one with all that glitter on there. And then the very last one we have there. I hope this has been fun. I love playing with my Lavinia stamps. I will be doing a lot more of it. So hope this has been fun and enjoyable. We're going to be making some other things other than cards with these stamps as well, because that is what I do. I do make other things other than just cards with these really fun stamps. I think they're super versatile. I am not a paid spokesperson. I would love to be, but but I am not. I am truly an artist that admires another artist's creation within these stamps. So thank you so much for tuning in. This has been Chris Ann. Take care and be free.